Hello and welcome to another episode of YAPS, yet another podcast about Spurs. We join you off the back of a mixed March where we most recently suffered a Morgan Gibbs whitewash at home against Forest to pile the pressure on Igor Tudor and the rest of the squad. After Kinski had a Morgan Gibbs nightmare in the away leg against Madrid, there appeared to be some Morgan Gibbs light at the end of the tunnel after showing some Morgan Gibbs fight against Liverpool and a Morgan Gibbs delightful result in the return leg against Atletico. But the result against Forest has given us a collective Morgan Gibbs fright. Many are calling for the departure of our interim manager, as Morgan Gibbs, despite the team showing definite signs of improvement from the Thomas Frank era, the results have still been largely Morgan Gibbs shite. With this podcast, we'll aim to give you a little bit of Morgan Gibbs respite and hopefully help you to forget about the potential of Tottenham having to play Stoke next season on a wet Wednesday Morgan Gibbs night. Today, I am joined, as always, by Stu. Hello, Stu. How are you doing?
I'm all the better for hearing that intro. It was pucker. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. And we are joined also by Fergus, who regular listeners will know and love as well. Fergus, welcome back. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for those kind words. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, more so than maybe watching Spurs at the moment.
Likewise. And it is also my pleasure to welcome a new guest to YAPS discussions table, Bluesky Spurs scholar, Prof Spur. Welcome to the show. How are you doing? And tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your Spurs story? How did you come to follow this wonderful football club?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on and for the chance to chat with you guys. I don't know what I could do, if anything, to follow that Morgan Gibbs White punning masterclass, but I'll try and say a few words. My name is Aaron. You can call me Aaron or you can call me Prof Spur. I write the Prof Spur analysis newsletter. And I started supporting Spurs in 2008 when I moved to England the first time, mainly because I was kind of football starved growing up in the US and obsessed with midfielders, in particular Luka Modric. So watching Modric, watching Aaron Lennon, that kind of group of players just attracted me to Spurs immediately. The more I watched, the more I fell for them. And as it turns out, this was nothing to do with anything, but I was born on September 5th in 1982, which is exactly the birthday of Tottenham, only 100 years later. I believe there's September 5th founding, 1882. So we have that going. So yeah, that's my Spurs story. It's been a joy and a pleasure and, also a pain ever since.
I'm sure that resonates with all of us and all of our listeners too. It's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have got a pretty packed month of football to talk about. Since last record, we had the Fulham game, Palace game, Atletico home and away, Liverpool and Forest. I remember on the last episode, I was especially bullish with our prospects for those games. I believe we would probably take a lot more points than we actually ended up taking. In the whole, as a month of football, what do you guys think? Stu, let's go to you first.
Well, following on from your intro, it's been a month of Morgan Gibbs plight, hasn't it? It's been pretty damn awful, frankly, and not particularly the football. The football has improved, but the results have not. I mean, I was expecting us to have 6 points from the last month, and we got one, and not even from the game I expected us to do well in. So, yeah, I'm sure the others will be the same, but losing against Palace, losing against Nottingham Forest, they are body blows for me, and it is tough, definitely tough.
Fergus, what do you think?
Yeah, much what sorry, my dog's just decided to come in now. Yeah, much what Stuart echo all of that. I mean, since I was watching the last YAPS episode, and did note that you're all very bullish about staying up, and right now I don't feel as bullish as you did in the last episode, that's for sure. So far we've got an aggregate of scored 4, conceded 13, and that doesn't really scream we're staying up, does it? It's as much as anything else, we just haven't had any luck. We haven't made our own luck, and that just needs to change. Whether it be the first goal we conceded against Fulham, I think Mickey van der Ven was trying just way too hard when he got his red card. Some of the decisions, the lack of penalty shouts against Forest, it was just nothing's going right for us. And until we kind of start getting a bit of luck, this is not going to work out well for us, I'm afraid.
I think even with the Liverpool game, you can make the case that we didn't have any luck in that one. Even though it was a good result, a point away, we arguably should have had a penalty, and they should have been a man down. I'll be honest, I expected us to have 9 points by now. I thought we'd beat Fulham, I thought we'd beat Palace, and I thought we'd beat Forest. Obviously, don't take any gambling advice from me. It won't be good. But I do think there are mitigating circumstances in a couple of those games that we had there. The Palace one in particular. Aaron, your thoughts on the games?
Yeah, I would just I agree with everything that's been said. I'd pick up on a couple of things. In that Liverpool game, for example, I thought I don't want to be this guy who's like complaining about calls, but I'm going to complain about calls. But I thought even the free kick that Szoboszlai converted probably shouldn't have been a free kick, to be honest. I think Harry Wilson's goal, the Fulham match, obviously was a push in the back on Dragic, and probably, that goes about a team that's on a better run of fortune, let's say, maybe it has that call go the other way. So I would agree there are mitigating circumstances. I think we have been better, and I think we've been marginally better in attacking and sort of a little bit marginally worse in defending. But if you consider that these 7 games under Tudor have been against 4 of those would have been Arsenal, Liverpool, and Atleti twice, you would expect to get, roughed up a little bit in at least 4 of those. But I'm kind of optimistic about at least we're attacking with a little bit of impetus. It's not pretty, but we're attacking. It's like easy to forget that attacking is a thing you can do in a football match. So that's happening. So I'm kind of pleased about that so far.
Yeah, we
I
are
think
allowed to shoot from open play nowadays, which is nice. It's nice to see that again. It's been a while. Change. We've had a summer, we've had a winter, and suddenly we're into spring, and shots are raining in. It's great to see.
I think our attacking play has definitely improved. I think there is a visible market improvement in our attacking play. I think the defensive side of our game is still letting us down. And I just wonder how much of that is down to Tudor coming in. He has kind of a very particular way of playing 3 at the back in most of the clubs he has managed. And I think we saw in the Fulham and Palace games, he kind of tried to do that. The Fulham game especially, I think we saw he literally was trying to transplant his way of playing at previous clubs into that Spurs squad. And then he seemed to adjust it to go to this, sometimes a 4, sometimes a 3. And I'm not sure he's quite figured it out yet. And normally you'd probably say, okay, that's fine. But given the limited amount of games he's got, it's concerning. He doesn't have that luxury, right? And he may not have any further time to figure it out. On that point, do we think he's done? Do we think he gets another game in charge, Fergus?
I don't think he will, but I think that's also due to game conditions off the pitch. Obviously, he has to recognise the fact that he's lost his father, which is a huge thing in anyone's life. And we certainly saw with Conte lost his a couple of friends whilst he was managing Spurs, that it affects you, and I think we have to have recognized that there's the human element in this. So I think the best thing for all parties is just kind of a mutually parting of the ways at this point. I just don't mean managing Spurs is one of the toughest jobs in sport, because we're such a basket case, especially at the moment. And I just don't think he needs that whilst he's going through such emotional turmoil. So for that reason alone, I think and it's not like he's got the good results to fall back on, because ultimately he's got 1 point in the Premier League, and that's not good enough. That's not going to keep us up. So I don't think we'll see him again and in the Spurs dugout. I mean, assuming this, of course, that the people in charge, the director of football, can actually stop sucking their thumb and actually find a replacement. We'll get that later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, much like Fergus, I don't think we'll see him back, but I don't think it's down to the football. I think he's undergone something that is going to take time to get over, and frankly, there's just being mercenary about it. Do we want a guy who's going through such a difficult period in his life trying to get us back into a better run of form? I'm sure his attention is distracted, and of course it is. And, I would be upset with him if it wasn't, frankly. The clubs sent their condolences, and I think every right-thinking fan has said this is a really bad situation for him to be in. And not because he's Tottenham Hotspur manager, but because he's lost his father. It's really tough. Luckily I've not had that, but I've got close, and I can tell you it was not a particularly enjoyable experience when that happened. And for me, if you're going to have a compassionate football club, which is what we talk about being, then you say to him, look, you take the time that you need to get over this. We're going to pay up your contract. We'll find somebody else to take your job. You're not going to be losing any money on this. We're sorry it's not worked out, but we're going to move on. You're going to move on. Take the time you need. Come back to the club someday and we'll get you in front of the crowd and everyone will show you how much they appreciate you, which I think most people would. We haven't won a lot of points, but we've got better. And frankly, he represents his club so much better than Thomas Frank ever did. There we go. And by the way, if Prospero isn't going to rant about officials, I bloody well will, because they've been shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really important point about what's going on in Tudor's personal life. I mean, it's so easy for people to, I catch myself all the time making assumptions, not always publicizing them, but thinking to myself, why the hell has he done that? And just thinking, well, you never know what people have going on that's distracting them or that's getting in the way of their ability to perform. Players, of course, as well as managers. And so I feel for Tudor in this situation as if there weren't enough pressure and enough stress in the circumstances that he was in. And on the football side of it, I mean, I'm kind of two minds. On the one, it's my sense is that he has actually improved a lot of what we're doing, particularly on the attacking side. And I agree with Stu that, of course, he's represented the club a lot better. And I think that's something that matters more maybe than people give credit for, that players who are elite players who are used to representing their country in international competition and playing in elite clubs and in top leagues are not used to being set up and hearing like you're not good enough and we're going to sit back and we're going to let your opponent dictate to you how this is going to unfold. So I think Tudor's got a little bit more of kind of like a player's mentality when it comes to that side of the game and the management position. But then he's also on the other side of things, he's made some really bizarre decisions, I think, in terms of substitutions and like you guys have pointed out his tendency to kind of toggle between a back three and then a two center back system has me very confused, and I don't have to execute, in a split second what he's trying to do in this short amount of time. So I don't know. I've been a little bit concerned about that. So I'm ambivalent about it. What happens with him next, but it doesn't look like he's going to be around for much longer.
Fergus?
Yeah, just one other point I'll make is that in which is so on brand for this season, Spurs managed to hire a manager who couldn't bring his own assistant manager with him because he couldn't get a work permit. So it's not even like the assistant manager is there at Hotspur Way, putting out the training cones and telling the guys, like, this is what you need to do. So I genuinely do not know who is doing the training sessions at the moment, who is trying to get Tudor's ideas across. So it's just such a terrible situation, all things considered. Yeah. Yeah, interim assistant
It,
manager is what we need.
yeah. It's one of those things, right, where this season everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. And obviously, condolences to Igor Tudor. I don't want to make light of that situation, but it is another thing that has happened to us as well, that has just compounded all of these problems, all of these issues. I would actually be inclined, if that hadn't happened, to say give him another game, give him a bit more time, which I didn't. I wasn't willing to give Frank the luxury of that. As you all probably know, I wanted Frank gone before Christmas. Tudor, I'm I've got a bit more. I can see what he's trying to do for the most part, apart from, as you said, some bizarre substitutions sometimes. I kind of get it. And I think if he can find a system and a set of players that can execute on what he wants to do, I think he would get us out of it in the next run of games. But I think, circumstances being as they are, we probably do need to make that move and make that move bloody quickly. I can't believe we're sitting here on a Friday night after the Forest game, and they don't appear to have made a decision one way or the other on that. Um, I'm really interested to know, replacement wise, who you guys would be thinking of to possibly get us out of this and do that.
It's kind of on brand for Tottenham, isn't it? That well, certainly on brand for us this season, that we're divvying and delaying and just waiting for somehow a decision to be made that should have been taken several days ago. I mean, in Frank's case, it was several months ago that decision should have been taken. Some of us were going, this isn't right after that Chelsea game. This is not going to work. It was pretty clear that he wanted to play a style of football that was absolutely not suited to the squad of players we had. And because of that, it was just going to continue to go badly wrong. And it did. And it's not that now. It's not a case of Igor Tudor couldn't get us out of trouble. It's just, is Igor Tudor in the right place? And are the players listening to him? Frankly, I don't put it on Igor Tudor's shoulders. I don't really put it on the players' shoulders. I just think they're lacking so much confidence right now that
So
something has to be done. Something's got to be switched.
the club, if they are a good employer, they will give him compassionate leave, right?
Yeah,
Of up
absolutely.
to a few weeks. And for any of the fault of that football club, no matter what you think about them running the club, they will have an HR department who will be saying you have to give him leave to deal with this situation. And they probably had an opportunity to talk to him and say, we will give you this leave, but we are going to appoint someone. We will honour your contract. We will pay you off. We will pay what you're owed. But the situation being as it is, we need to bring someone in who is going to see out the rest of the season. Those conversations may be happening now, but I can't see how that wouldn't be a good scenario for everyone involved, apart from Tottenham, who have to pay. Have to pay for a new manager to come in effectively. But there's been some wild suggestions about who is potentially taking over. We have had everyone from the old boys of Tim Sherwood and Harry Redknapp through to Christian Romero being named player manager to the end of the season. Do you think there is any sort of validity to any of these stories we've heard so far?
I think the only one that kind of makes sense is Ryan Mason. Ryan Mason knows the club. Ryan Mason has lifted the players before, not this group of players, but he has been in that position before. Many of the players know him from when he was a coach under Ange. So there's going to be that level of good feeling that, that he's built up with the players from his time at Spurs before, and he knows the club inside out. For me, it would be Ryan Mason plus somebody above him who is there as a touchstone for him to talk to, right? Someone who he can go to for some experienced advice. And generally, that's probably Harry Redknapp. I am not saying Harry Redknapp is the top man. I'm saying he probably doesn't even set foot on the grounds, but he's there on the telephone, right? He's there available to be talked to. And he's got the experience that Ryan Mason may lack. But Ryan Mason clearly has the ear of some of these players. And I think with the work he did before, there's a sense of goodwill even amongst the crowd that would just push things on a little bit.
Mason was on the pitch at Bilbao, right? He was part of that team that got us over the line. I completely agree with Stu. He would be my pick. He would have been my pick when Frank went as the initial interim to get us to the end of the season.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I mean, it should have been Frank. As I say, it should. Not Frank.
You want Frank back?
Edit, delete. It should have been Mason when Frank went in February. I don't like the phrase, like the Tottenham DNA per se, but or the Tottenham way per se, but at least he gets that. He has that, and that's what we're missing. I think, at this moment in time, this is not, we just need someone, who obviously has some tactical acumen that he clearly does, but also can just bring back the vibes and bring back the confidence and get the players to actually play some football. This group of players knew how to play football last season. And that was partly due to the coaching that Ryan Mason did. He has to just go back, guys, let's just rewind 12 months. Let's remember how to play football. Let's go do that. And they will buy into that straight away, I feel. I mean, it's just such an obvious decision. It's such an obvious choice. And our director of football just can't bring himself to make the most obvious decision possible. It's infuriating that we're in this situation. So I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be boring, but I just agree that it's got to be Mason. I don't really see what the alternatives would look like. I mean, I hear people, Sean Dyche is going to be in this conversation every single time. But again, I think the key, which everyone has touched on to some extent already, so I won't belabor it, but I think the key is it is the players having that association with the fact that they overcame a lot last season and had that glory by the end of it, even though it was really difficult in the season and even though in the league it wasn't what anybody wanted. And I think that goes a longer way than Premier League experience or whatever, these kinds of things that people throw out there to say who's going to be the right person to steady the ship.
Yeah, I think Mason is the closest you could get to bringing Ange back without actually bringing Ange back.
Yeah.
Because he would not do it. He has said he will not come back. He wishes us well and hopes we get out of it, but he will not come back. I think if Matt Wells was still at the club, it would have been a no-brainer. You just appoint Matt Wells. But obviously he's gone, and from what I've heard, he's doing a great job over in Colorado. Yeah, I think Mason is the one man who is available, who is linked to last season's successes, and I think it just has to happen, right? I think if they try and get too clever and bring in Adi Huta or any of those other sort of European managers for a few games, it's going to be kind of the Igor Tudor situation all over again, where he's gonna need time to work with the players to get his messages across and embed his style of play, and we quite frankly don't have time for that. Daesh, I think, is a bit of a myth as a relegation battle expert. I don't think he has actually successfully battled relegation that many times. I think it was maybe once he managed to keep Everton up when it was close, and that's about it. And obviously, there's many rumours going around today about Roberto De Zerbi, which I've made clear my thoughts on this podcast before on Roberto De Zerbi, that I don't want him at the club, partly because of the way he acts, his attitude, his previous behaviours in relation to specifically Mason Greenwood, but other players with somewhat murky pasts he's taken on at his time in Marseille. And yeah, I just it's a terrible idea, because if you bring him in now, he's coming in with a relegation clause as well, probably, which would be an insane move. I think I can tell most of you probably share some of the same thoughts with me on De Zerbi, but just as a discussion point, what do you guys think?
I would suggest
thanks.
that he's a really poor choice for all the reasons you've set out, but also just purely on footballing terms. I mean, he plays amazing football, but it's going to take a while to implement those ideas. And we do not have time. We have 7 games to save our season. And if he does turn up and he's just like a colossal twat, which appears he is, and he has a relegation clause, and the players know that, then they might just decide to down tools, get relegated, and and just hope that they get sold in the summer, so they don't have to play with him next season. I mean, it's not inconceivable. So it's just a terrible idea trying to bring him in, I feel.
Yeah, I said a moment ago on Blue Sky that not only do I not want somebody who lacks leadership when it comes to the violence against women and the issues that he's kind of spoken in a cavalier manner about already, which I think doesn't speak well of his character. So he's a no for me on those grounds, but I also don't really even want, I mean, it's exciting to watch, I think, the way that he plays, but I'm wary of this kind of chaos ball approach. And I think I'm still a sort of boring, um, like old Pep, acolyte when it comes to these things. Like I want to see a manager that gives us possession and control of the match through control of the ball, and he doesn't really do that. So he's a long-term no for me. And the other thing, really quickly on this, in the short term, like look at the situation that Xavi Simons is in right now. Every time you bring in somebody who's an unknown quantity to the players, every single one of those players then has to worry about, am I like, where do I stand with this person, right? Like where, so every change that we make, instead of thinking about, how to train well and how to win and how to execute what they're meant to do, the players have to think about, am I going to get minutes? Where am I in the pecking order? That kind of thing. And we don't have time for them to think about that kind of thing. So every one of these kinds of changes, if it's not somebody who can really slot in and has familiarity like Mason, like we've said, I think is an immediate risk of taking too long to get going.
I've said it on Blue Sky. I mean, there's a big burning gas fireball in the sky. Just fire him into it. He should never be anywhere near Tottenham Hotspur. He is the very antithesis of what we should be looking for in a manager. He's a horrible, horrible individual. He causes strife and dysfunction wherever he goes. He falls out with management, and falling out with the board and things like that, that's for us to do. It's not for the manager to do. We don't need any more help with that, thank you very much. So no, absolutely nowhere near. I mean, I don't like the guy as a person. His football can be entertaining, but I would hate to watch it at Tottenham. I think we need to have a manager or interim manager or head coach or whatever you're going to call it, somebody who comes in and says, right, you guys have certain qualities and I'm going to mold our football to that. And that is front foot, attacking football, not waiting for the opposition to make a mistake.
Yeah. I think there is some merit in having a head coach that will speak truth to power, a little. But I think there's like I feel like Thomas Frank was kind of too far in the other direction, right? Too much of a yes man. And I know I always turn things into a bit of an Ange Postecoglou loving on here, but kind of I thought he hit the balance there of kind of being enough of a challenger to the status quo and saying, well, actually, we do need some support, we do need some help in these areas without going down the route of De Zerbi and Conte. Not that I think Conte is anywhere near as bad a person as De Zerbi. Conte still had that fiery nature where he falls out with management at clubs. I think finding that balance is important. I like someone with a bit of bites to them, but not to that extent. It has to be expressed in the right way. So yeah, I think there's a few managers out there that kind of tick the boxes for me. But I am kind of resigned to the point, and we've had this conversation before in here, that it will be Pochettino. I feel fairly confident of that now, Stu.
Final point for me on De Zerbi. He just reminds me of the Black Knight from Monty Python. Like, he doesn't understand the situation he's in. He's in real trouble. Everything's going badly wrong. He's like, come here, or I'll bite your legs off. Like, just no. Just no.
Tis but a scratch.
Tis
That
but a
sounds like a
scratch.
medical team at the moment.
That's what they said about Kulusevski. Tis but a
Yeah.
scratch.
Oh, bless him. Bless him. He should be positive news on Decky recently though. He has been, speaking, I think, quite positively about his recovery. I know he had another minor procedure in the week, but that was just to flush out the knee. That's not a big deal. I think we'll probably be seeing him next season. Probably not this season, but it, fingers crossed, doesn't seem to be like the career ender that some people were fearing. So yeah, all the best to him, and hopefully he gets back as soon as possible.
He's going to tear up the championship. It's going to be amazing there.
He will be, yeah.
Sorry, shall I be more positive? No, we're going to stay up.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? I want to move us on to talk about some more positive topics, but I do just want to take a vibe check in the room, and I think we'll probably do this kind of like month on month as we get to the end of the season until we are safe. What's the vibe? Are we more? I'm going to go around the table. Are you more we're staying up, or more we're going down? Fergus, we'll start with you.
Oh, can I just sit on the fence and say it's about 50-50, really? April's going to be a massive month. If we haven't turned it around by the end of April, we're screwed, basically. Unfortunately, we've got 3 cup finals coming up, and we're bad at cup finals, generally speaking. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not betting my mortgage on us staying up. Let's put it that way.
Fair play. Stuart?
We're staying up. I think there's still just enough points to be won in the season. I think we've got the quality in the squad, and West Ham are below us, and West Ham are a terrible side who have shown a blip of good form, and that can just evaporate and go away like one of their bubbles.
Roth, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think clearly it's as dangerous as it can be right now for us, but I lean towards staying up because I just think that just as West Ham have had some good form, we've had some really shit luck. And it can't continue to be this, I trust in variance in the end, it just can't. It's a question of whether the run of bad luck is able to continue beyond 7 games, or if it can sort of stop before that. I figure it has to stop before then at this point because it's been this way for so long.
Yeah, and I'll kind of add to that as well by saying, yeah, I am still fairly confident that we'll stay up. I'm nowhere near as confident as I was last month, but West Ham need to um, mm, they need like a 2 point swing on us effectively because of the goal difference. Um, I don't think looking at our games, looking at their games, I don't think they can make that swing on us. And I think West Ham will probably go down. And I think um, the sooner they lose one and we win one, the more our confidence will go up, and the more our ability to put a run together will go there. So um, I could even see us finishing above Forest and maybe even Leeds in the end if that happens sooner rather than later. Like if in the next round of games West Ham and Forest both lose and we win, I could see momentum shifting in our direction. So I'm still fairly confident on it. So there we go. There's a bit of positivity. Never let it be said that we're one of those negative Spurs podcasts. And on to something else, a bit more, something we like to cover every month that is usually a positive, a little bit more negative than usual this month, the Spurs women. Um, I'm going to confess I missed the Man City game because I was in Poland, where they do not show as much women's football on TV, unfortunately, and they weren't airing the Spurs Man City game, and it wasn't one on YouTube that I could watch, so I didn't see it. I saw the result, and yeah, pretty poor. Um, but how do we feel about how they're faring at the moment, and those couple of games in particular since we last recorded?
They're fun to watch. I mean, they are the bright shining spot of the season. The last, yeah, Everton, Man City, bad game. I mean, Man City were a class above. They were really very good. Bunny was fantastic and just scored some great goals and just was a pain in the butt for us the entire time. There were a few refereeing decisions that didn't go our way, but you could see that we've improved from where we were last season. And I think there was a stat recently, we've already achieved more points this season than we did last season. We've still got some time to go in the season. So yeah, I'm fine with what I'm seeing from the ladies. I think they're doing a great job. I like to see the youth coming through. Um, I like to see the players that have been purchased actually showing their qualities on the pitch. So plenty more to come, and I think we'll continue to see more players coming in over the summer, and we'll see what happens then.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Man City squad, and in fact, probably the rest of those teams in those top four positions, they really are teams of superstars. Like they're household names in all of those sides, and we're getting there. I think we have got players that will become household names, but we're not quite there yet. We've got a very good squad of players. One in particular who I'd like to celebrate signed a new contract, Olivia Holt, fantastic. Probably my favourite Spurs player at the moment across both squads. Really happy to see that. And Martin Ho signed a new contract as well today, I believe, which obviously is a great thing. Um, any other thoughts for anyone else on the women's team right now?
I'll just say I recently found out that all the games were on YouTube. Right? I mean, thanks for sharing that information, guys, beforehand. Especially got
Not
thinking
all of
as
them.
I started watching it, and I was just
Oh,
like, my God, what's these passing patterns and triangles going on? And they're working the ball, and then we still lost to Everton. But I mean, it was really nice to watch. You know, some good quality football for once. You know, there was no meat wall. There was no just like kind of there wasn't slowing it down. It was just it was pure good football. It was just I'll be watching a lot more Spurs women from now on. Now they know this. Now I know how I know I can actually watch the games.
Yeah, I confess I haven't watched as much as I ought to, and so I don't want to misrepresent my myself or my degree of knowledge on this, but it's exciting that just from what I have seen and the turnaround from where we were last season to where we are this season is pretty impressive.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
we should not only big up Olivia Holt, but also give some praise to Gopset because Signe Gopset is a fantastic footballer.
she is
So good
brilliant.
for her age. She's so
She
good.
is really good. There's so many like likable players in that team who are exciting to watch and are fun and are great representatives of the club. And look, I mean, I'll admit as well, I'm not an expert on the team. I've really only started watching them this season, but it's been a lot of fun. And as you said, no meat wall is amazing. Like as a sidebar, right? And I don't know if this happened in many of the other international games last night, but I was watching Poland Albania last night because I'm a fan of the Polish national team. And there was no long throws, there was no meat wall. It was football like it used to be. It was even short corners and things like that. And it was a breath of fresh air. I was like, what are we watching week in and week out in the Premier League when this is what football's meant to be like?
Hey, I just had a kind of a left field thought. Maybe we can get Martin Ho to do a job share between the men's and women's team, for the rest of the season, because clearly he knows what he's doing, and that's what we need.
It has been suggested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that was the new contract. They slipped the men's contract in, and he's accidentally signed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just for any massive fans of the women's team, I'm not suggesting the men's team should steal him permanently, because he's doing a fantastic job and he should be allowed to carry on doing that job. But yeah, maybe for the good of the club in general, he could just come and like sprinkle some of his magic dust on the men's team for a few games.
And for anyone worried about the Everton and Man City games, we were missing our two best central defenders in both of those matches. So they've come back from the Asian Nations game or the Asian Cup games. I think one of them got injured actually, but yeah. So anyway, Toka Koga's back. She'll be fine, on good form as well because she won. So
it's pretty wild that they have big international tournaments whilst the Women's Super League is going on. That's something I have to adjust to a little bit, but yeah. Okay. Moving on to our question of the month. We had two to pick from, and one of them we've kind of already covered a little bit. So I'm going to try and do both of them, time permitting, because I think the first one we could do fairly quickly. So pick any former Spurs player, past or present, to replace Tudor and get us over the line this season. So it cannot be a manager, has to be a player. Now there might be a few loopholes you can jump through to get a manager in place here. Any player past or present, get us over the line this season. I can give us a starter for 10 if you would like.
Go for it.
Right. And caveat as well, you can't pick Michael Carrick, right? Because that's the obvious choice, right? I am going out and I'm getting Edgar Davids, right? Because he's got that spirit.
The boss.
He's done managerial jobs before at Barnet. So he knows how to manage a club in the English league. Get Edgar Davids in. Edgar Davids will lead us over the line. Yeah, he'll get us there.
I was wondering if we could bring Sonny back on a loan, just until the end of the season, maybe because he would score some goals, and that would help us a lot. He'd bring some good vibes back with him.
Yeah, it would have been good.
Harry Kane comes back as player manager. And we forget the fact that he can't be registered. We'll just take the fine, because apparently that's what happens when you break the rules nowadays. You only get fined.
Yeah, 10 million.
Yeah.
And a 9-point deduction for Everton.
Yeah, I think I would probably go maybe Jan Vertonghen for vibes. I don't know if we're allowed to have current players, but I'd also love to see James Maddison at the helm of a football team at some point. I have a feeling he's got that mix of kind of intelligence about the game and like real sense of relating to people.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually posted that on Bluesky a bit earlier in the week, actually, when there was talk about Romero being named player manager. I was like, if you are going to name anyone in the squad player manager, it's James Maddison. Like, I could hear the case for Ben Davis, but I agree with you. I think Madders has got the right interpersonal skills to get those players where they need to be on a short-term basis. So I think that's a really good shout.
There's just one other shout I may give is just Alfie Whiteman, because basically everything that has gone wrong at Spurs has happened since he left. He was the glue that was holding us together. He left on the 31st of May. 6 days later, we sacked Ange, and then everything's just been bad since then.
I like that.
Maybe bring him back. Maybe he is the person who would, get some vibes going.
I like that.
We've not won a game since he retired.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
that was the moment. That was the butterfly effect. I actually would bring in Whiteman as assistant to Igor Tudor, because with Whiteman's love of film, you could open up the Tudor Cinema Club.
Hey.
Joke for any fans of Landfill Indie there.
I'm just picturing somewhere in Spurs headquarters, somebody mobilizing like a team of guys to go out and kidnap Whiteman and smuggle him back to Spurs and bring him in just to get us a win.
Tell me he's just gonna make a documentary at the end of our season. That will get him involved.
Chain him up in the cheese room and leave him there just as a talisman. And the other meta question of the month, and we're going to try and cover this quickly, but it is a bigger one, right? What was the worst decision, sacking Ange or sacking Daniel Levy? For me, and I've seen these questions before, so I've had a chance to think about them. So for me, right, sacking Ange was a terrible decision, right? But the way the club is being run at the moment and the way it was being run under Daniel Levy, Ange was probably fucked anyway. At some point, he would have come unstuck. As much as I would not have sacked him, I think having this power vacuum at the top of the club that Daniel Levy filled, we probably would have got away with sacking Ange a little bit more if Levy was there, because he would have sacked Frank earlier. He would have brought in a replacement for Frank earlier. We probably wouldn't be in this dire position at the moment if we had kept Daniel Levy around. Thoughts?
Aaron, do you want to provide the counterpoint, or shall I?
You can go first.
Okay, right. I would disagree that I think sacking Ange was a catastrophic decision. I think that he had the buy-in from the players, and this season would have gone vastly different if he had still been there. There is a lot of turmoil behind the scenes in the club. I'm not going to deny that. And sacking Levy has obviously created this massive power vacuum. But if things were going smoothly on the pitch, they could just do all their politics and succession bullshit behind the scenes, and we really wouldn't know too much about it. We would just still seeing the commemorative shirts come out of for the first FA Cup game and things like that. Oh, this is great, and it would have gone an awful lot smoother, I think. So that was, to me, that was the big issue. Obviously sacking Levy, has created a bunch of problems, and I don't disagree with some of the things you said there, Owen. But I think sacking Ange was just a catastrophically stupid decision. But
I just want to say, I am not claiming sacking Ange was not a catastrophic decision. I think I said on a previous episode it was the biggest example of institutional self-harm since Brexit. That's my view on the sacking of Ange.
I could just add, Owen made me think hard about this actually just now. It made a pretty compelling case for the Levy side of that, but I'm gonna remain on brand and say that sacking Ange was the worst decision. And for me, it basically comes down to what was so egregious about that is, I mean, failure is just failure. Everybody fails. That happens all the time, and it happens for all kinds of different reasons. But when you fail, but by selling your soul, that's extraordinary and extraordinarily bad. And I think sacking Ange, it wasn't just a bad, as I understand it, a bad tactical decision, a bad decision for the football. It was an irrational decision, but it was also kind of like the club saying all this stuff we put out in press releases, all this identity stuff that we talk about, we don't actually believe in it. It was the one moment where we could have doubled down on the club motto, and yet we did the very opposite. So it was like just adding insult to injury in a way, and that, of course, I think transferred over to the players, and and showed them in effect that everything that they accomplished last season was not worth to the club anything at all, really, because they didn't perform in the league, after being deprived of reinforcements for so long. So, yeah, for me, that was just a turning point historically in the club, I think, for the worse.
Do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts on this one?
So for me, sacking Ange was absolutely abysmal because it ripped the heart out of the club. It showed the players that winning a title doesn't actually mean that much to these people, because he won a title having followed through on a plan, got them through into the Champions League, had everyone behind him, and they still got rid of him. But I don't think Ange would have survived without Levy. I think, you know, Venkatesh would have got rid of him along with Langer because he wanted a more data-friendly, data-led guy. At the same time, Daniel Levy, however much you hate him, would have sacked Thomas Frank a long, long, long time before. He would have been gone by November at the very latest, I feel. Just would not have had the kind of chance to set in that rot that fully got into us. But even that's not the worst decision. The worst decision happened in August 2024, and it was the sacking of Dr. Jeff Scott, our head of science and medicine. He was the one. Ever since then, our injuries have just got considerably worse. They've compounded. So, Dr. Jeff Scott, please come back.
As interim manager?
Just on the medical side, and bring a player or two with you. Just lay those hands and get somebody back.
I think the doc can get us over the line, Stu. I don't know. You're not thinking creatively enough.
No, we need Mr. Muragi to do this magic hand clap. That's what I think we need.
Cool. Okay, we're going to move on to our last segment now, where we have a look at social media, most specifically Bluesky, which we all can be found on. Take a look at our skeets of the month and just any thoughts and feelings about what's going on there. Hot off the press, social media wise, and I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see this, but the new away kit for next season has leaked. I'm a bit of a kit nerd, so this really piqued my my interest. I'll try and describe it for our audio listeners. It's a navy blue number with kind of diagonal metallic looking purple, orange, and pink diagonal gradient stripes. It's wild looking, but as you can tell from the kit I'm sporting now, again for audio listeners, the paint splatter with neon badges away kit from a few years ago. I like the wild kits. Have you guys had a chance to see the new away kit yet? And what are your thoughts if you have?
I think you can tell from my attire this evening that I'm not against a bit of colour and splash. But that is weird. That is really, I mean, it looks like a quarter of a training top. And then, like, just at the nipple level, it changes to something completely different. You're like, what on earth is going on there? I don't understand it. I kind of almost feel it should be heat sensitive. Like when you go in the sun, it will change color and shimmer or something, like the t-shirts we had in the back in the 90s. That's what that needs to be. If it's not that, I will be disappointed.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the pattern changes, doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
like just above the sponsor.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It kind of slightly reminds me of like when people like really soup up their cars. And you have I'm so not a petrol head. I don't know what part of the engine it is, but you have some part of the engine kind of showing, and the metal part that kind of reminds me of that.
It's
But
very
yeah, and it's
Need for Speed
also
Underground coded.
yeah,
It really is.
Yeah, I guess that this is actually kind of targeted, for they're kind of thinking it with like who's going to buy the shirts, and it's probably for like 20-year-olds, and maybe as a bunch of middle-aged men, we are not like the target market for this. With respect, maybe you are.
You're
Owen,
talking to a 42-year-old man that buys a kit every season, but
yeah, yeah. It's okay. I mean, like the one thing I suppose that this is to be expected, but yeah, it's not being modelled by any of our current players. We're just like, I was like, oh yeah, is that because you don't know if they're going to be here next season to wear it?
Maybe. Well,
Yeah.
and Decky modelled all the kits last season, didn't he? And he's gonna probably end up not wearing any of them, which is really tragic when you think about it.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah.
the way we're going this season, I'm kind of surprised they've got Kalumwani to kind of model them, just because the one player we've got on loan definitely won't be here.
Popular choice.
Yeah. We made enough
Cool.
bad decisions, so let's make just a few more.
Any other thoughts on social media and Bluesky in general? It's been quite a fraught time over the last month. We all thought we were back and the vibes were back, and they went away very quickly. And I think it might actually be lower than it was at the lowest point before the Liverpool game. What do you guys think?
We've been through it. And I think we kind of felt that we were getting through to the other side. And then they just pulled the rug underneath us again. We're back in it. It'll be fine. We'll cope. We go down, we'll cope. The humour will keep us going. That's what we've got to live off. A bit of vibes, a bit of bounce, a bit of humour. We'll be fine. I keep telling myself, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
I mean, I think as a general point, I think the fans still have been amazing. You can see them. I mean, outside of Bluesky as well, right? So I think things have been kind of representative of what's going on the pitch on social media. But I think just for our fans have been amazing. The support the team got at Liverpool was fantastic. The fact that they did everything before the Forest game with like 10,000 people coming along the streets. So that's my dogs. If you can hear them. I think the fans have done everything they can to support this team, and it's now the team just needs to step up.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. I'm on sabbatical this year, spending it in Cambridge, UK, and so I'm going to the games more this year than I ordinarily do when I'm based in the US. So it's been a great privilege. And a special thing for me to be able to attend, even though the season itself and the football has been so miserable, which is something can only laugh about. But just to say, witnessing the level of support has been really inspiring, to be honest, and to see people get behind the players and the team despite the circumstances is really something.
I think that's something that's really changed recently as well. I think I've been to a few more games this season than I normally have, and towards the end of the Frank era, it was getting pretty grim, pretty down in the stadium. But I think we've collectively brought that back, and yeah, I mean even at the Forest game, I didn't go to that one myself, but from what I heard, until their third goal went in, which is quite late, understandable, everyone was still getting behind the team, the players, and everything. So I think that's credit to all the supporters. And she mentioned, I think we'll be fine if we do go down, which I don't think we will. I think we will still get a lot of people in that stadium. I think we'll easily be the best supported team in the championship. Yeah, and I think we'll have a real chance of bouncing back. So that's good. One thing I wanted to call out, personal thing, before we get to the Skeets of the Month. I just wanted to give a shout out to something our friend Ian of Podden and Podspur fame. He's been running a GoFundMe for Spurs fans against colorectal cancer. It's doing great. I think it was sitting at just under $3,000 at the moment from the last time I checked, and that's just a great thing that the Spurs Bluesky community has done and has contributed to. And I don't know if you're able to, Stu, put a link to that in the notes for this episode, just so anyone listening, it's a condition that can affect any of us. And I'm sure there's some of us listening or on this call that has had some experience of it in their time. So please do go on to that, and if you are able to, please contribute to a great cause. Cool. Skeets of the month. I've got a couple. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to call out? Stuart, you always got a good one. Go on.
Well, I mean, normally the ones I pick out are funny and whimsical and everything, but mine is Ian's colorectal cancer thing. It's so important, and it's not just about that one particular cancer. People need to be aware that there is no shame in going and getting a checkup, right? And it could be cancer, it could be back issues, it could be your dodgy knee. If there's an issue, go to the doctor, get it sorted out. And perhaps I'm talking from a slightly more vaunted position because I lived in the UK where we had the NHS, and now I live in France where we've got fantastic healthcare. And I realise there are places around the world where it's not quite as available. But if you have the opportunity to do it, do it. And talking from a personal side, get your kids checked as well. My kid's just been diagnosed with scoliosis, and it's something that we missed, even though as a family we're very aware of scoliosis. We missed it, and it took a doctor's appointment to find it. So please get yourself checked out. Make sure your kids get their regular checkups as well, because it's so important. It really is.
Agreed. Well said.
Back to the fun.
Fergus, have you got anything you particularly wanted to call out? Anything you've seen that tickled your funny bone or anything like that?
Oh God, sorry, I didn't actually. I haven't been like screenshotting anything, so I don't know. There's been lots of good stuff out there, but I can't think of anything particularly. Now you put me on the spot, which is great content for a podcast.
You know what we do,
Sorry.
Fergus. Come on, you've been on more than once. You know what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's not coming back, Stu.
Yeah. There's just great content from the whole of COYS Sky. Love it on there. Lots of people putting good stuff out there, and I think some of the Galaxy humor is really important at this time. We need it.
I don't know who put the Matt Spate one in there, but the Matt Spate skeet is brilliant.
That
Tottenham Hotspur consider punching themselves in the face if punching in the balls isn't an available option. I mean, that's so Tottenham. Thank you again, man.
An original post where they were saying we were going to consider turning to Sean Dyche if Roberto De Zerbi doesn't want the job. Yeah, well done, Matt. You hit it on the head there. And I want to call out another one as well, which I liked, which is it's the old tried and true Galaxy Brain meme, and it was by Dustin George Miller from Cartilage Free Captain. Great website, always worth a read. And it's got the stages of the Galaxy Brain are Vinay Venkatesham is a good executive at a bad club. Vinay Venkatesham is bad at his job. Vinay Venkatesham is an Arsenal plant. And the last one is Vinay Venkatesham is a Chelsea plant who failed to screw up Arsenal.
And with that, we just lost Ian. His Ian's brain just exploded. So
yeah. Brill. So those are the skeets of the month. Do feel free to join us on Blue Sky, where we all like to have a little laugh on there. You can find all of us on there. I am on there at Own Brand, just trying to figure out my own handle. Stuart, where can they find you?
Yeah, just search CADS, just CADS, like literally CADS, just CADS.
Fergus?
Fergus McKee at is it beastface.social? I don't know. I don't know.
If you just give the app, people will find you.
I'm the only Fergus McKee ever anywhere, pretty much. So.
And Aaron, where can they find you?
Prof Spur is the handle on Bluesky.
Everyone follows you already, don't they?
Yeah. And a shout out for Prosper's
why.
Substack as well. Yeah,
Yes.
that's always a great read.
Agreed. Always a great read. Cool.
We will put all of the handles in the description below, and also a link to the Substack.
We will. So you can come and banter us on there and disagree with anything we've said in this episode. That feels like a good place to wrap up for the month. Thank you to my fellow yappers for this episode. It's been much appreciated and a great conversation. Thank you to all of our dear listeners who have tuned in this month. Please do give us a good rating on anything you're listening to this on. Leave some comments, give us your feedback. It's always much appreciated. Thank you for listening. We will see you next month towards the end of April. Come on, you Spurs, and keep yapping.
Yep.
Bye-bye.